What is up? Welcome to the Man Cave Podcast, episode 4, coming to you from Northern California, the 209. I'm Chris, and this is my nephew, Junior, aka Anthony. Got a lot of stuff to talk about today: NBA playoffs, NFL, dive into Major League Baseball, all that stuff. We want to lead off with the Milwaukee Bucks, Miami Heat game from yesterday. Milwaukee came in the series down 2-0. Came into this game, they haven't played well. Jimmy Butler's basically, the first game he had 40. I mean, he's a great team leader. And game 3, you got the Milwaukee up 12 going into the fourth quarter, and you're thinking, okay, they're going to get back into the series. They're playing well. And in the fourth quarter, they just don't show up. They get outscored 43-12. Are you fucking kidding me? I mean, how do you go into the fourth quarter leading by 12 and score 13 points in the quarter? I mean, that's a fucking disgrace. I mean, you're the number 1 seed for a reason, and you come into this series, and now you're down 3-0 after choking away game 3. To me, it's a disgrace. Junior, what are your thoughts on this series and this game in particular?
You know what? I'm disgusted with the Bucks. I'm disgusted with Giannis. You're supposed to be the reigning MVP, and you're getting outplayed by Brook Lopez. Come on, dude. You're the best player in the league, and you can't win a single game. I'm disgusted. It's over. You know what? Probably we'll see Giannis in a different uniform after this season, most likely. And I don't blame him.
Well, I don't necessarily agree with that. I mean, because he does have a good supporting cast. And the difference between him and LeBron is when LeBron left Cleveland originally, he had a shitty fucking organization that didn't bring him any good players. And he was carrying the team by himself. Giannis is not carrying this team. He's being outplayed by a 32-year-old Brook fucking Lopez. The guy looks like Sideshow Bob. He's slower than a fucking turtle out there on the court. And Giannis is being outplayed by this guy. It's ridiculous. Giannis, if you go to another team like Kevin Durant, where you tuck your tail between your legs and you try to team up with 2 superstars, you're a fucking coward just like him.
Yeah.
Nonsense. If you don't come back in this series and at least make it interesting, it's a disgrace in my opinion.
It's a failed season. It's a flat-out failed season because you were picked in the East as a lock to go to the finals this year. And if you can't even get to the Western or the Eastern Conference Finals, it's a disgraceful. I'm disgusted with this team. Honestly, I'd be happier to see the Heat win because, I don't even enjoy watching them play right now. I don't.
Yeah, Giannis is just not playing the way he's capable of. He's a defensive player of the year. And the thing about Miami, what I like, they have absolutely no fear of Milwaukee whatsoever. Coming into this series, they've been the more aggressive team most of the series. Jimmy Butler, Giannis, he tried to guard him yesterday. Jimmy Butler just went right at him. No fear of anything. Jimmy Butler is a stud. That's the kind of player the Sacramento Kings need. I'm a Kings fan, and I would be thrilled to get Jimmy Butler. Obviously, that's not going to happen, but, that's the type of player that can lead a team, and he can take this team to the finals the way they're playing right now.
Definitely, and it's going to be definitely interesting to see who their opponent's going to be in the, conference finals. I'm looking forward to seeing what Jimmy Butler's going to do. They might be able to go to the finals. They very might well could go to the finals this year.
Yeah, they definitely can. With that, we want to transition here. We're going to go ahead and switch over to the nightcap, which was the Houston Rockets in Game 1 of their Western Conference semi, going up against LeBron, Anthony Davis, and the Lakers. Honestly, I was shocked at the outcome of Game 1, to say the least. I thought coming into this series, especially Houston coming off an emotional 7-game series against OKC, thought Game 1 they might come out flat, maybe not play well. And, it was actually the quite opposite. They took it to the Lakers from the start. I mean, they outplayed them for the most part. And I wasn't really expecting it. I talked a lot of trash about James Harden. I mean, the thing about James Harden, he can't come out and have these games where you're like, wow, it's an impressive game. He shot a high percentage yesterday, 36 points on 12 of 20, hit 3 out of 6 from threes. if James Harden would just play like that on a more consistent basis and not jack up like 15 threes and only make 3 of them, he would be an amazing player, especially in the playoffs. But he doesn't do that. He does that shit few and far between. But it was an impressive performance by him yesterday, so I owe him a little bit of an apology. And for one game, I was impressed with him. It was him, Eric Gordon, that basically led the team. They won by 15. And the Lakers, all but waved the white flag in the fourth quarter. Junior, what are your thoughts on the Lakers yesterday and their performance? What do you look at with them? And moving forward in the series, do you think this was a one-game deal where they just came out flat? Or do you think moving forward they're going to come out better?
I think it was definitely a one-game deal. I'm still disgusted. I mean, LeBron didn't even score in the fourth quarter. And that's very rare from LeBron, and I don't know why that happened. But hopefully they go back to the drawing board, figure out what they messed up, get back and win the series, win a game. I mean, it's like I said, I told you, I said the only way Houston will have a chance at winning this series is if they hit the threes. And that's exactly what they did. They kept shooting the 3-ball. They kept driving to the basket. Westbrook played lights out yesterday.
Yeah, they had great performances from 3 players. And, the Lakers, they didn't get strong performances by any of their supporting cast. They got to have their supporting cast. Anthony Davis and LeBron can only carry a team so much. They're great players, but they can't carry the entire load. And Rajon Rondo, do me a favor, please. Do not shoot the basketball outside of 10 feet. You can't make a shot outside of 10 feet. Don't shoot outside from 10 feet. Your shot is ugly. Your three-point shot, it looks like a fucking brick every time. I mean, when it leaves your hands, it's not going in. Do not shoot outside shots. If you want this team to win, drive to the basket, draw, kick outs of shooters. Do not shoot, please. Your shot's fucking ugly. Don't want to see it. It's a disgrace. Please, drive, distribute, play defense. That's what you're good at.
Definitely. And pass the ball. Pass the ball. And you know what? I want to address something that happened during the game yesterday that I was very disgusted with. Russell Westbrook made what was it, 3?
Yeah.
He had 3, and he decided to act like an asshat. Decided to drop a bunch of F-bombs and taunting. What's your thoughts on that, Chris?
I'm a Westbrook fan, but it was, to me, you're not winning the entire series. It would be different if that was a shot-cleansing series. Then yeah, I'm going to drop a bunch of F-bombs, talk a bunch of shit. This is game 1. Do you realize who you are playing? You just motivated the shit out of LeBron James. And I don't know about you, but a motivated LeBron, I'm scared of that. When LeBron is motivated and someone talks trash on him, it's like Michael Jordan. He's going to come back, guaranteed, with a vengeance in game 2. And Russ, you just opened up a can of worms you should not have opened up. Wait until, if that was a shot cleansing series, yes, talk all the shit you want. But, that was a stupid move on your part. There was still plenty of game left. You didn't even necessarily clinch that game with that shot. So I don't know what you were taking on that. You need to lay off that shit. It was tasteless anyway because you got the camera on you. You got kids watching basketball. You can't be dropping a bunch of F-bombs on live TV.
And those players, they look up to you, man. You got to be an idol for kids. And, and I also feel like what I was disgusted about the game, it just seems like it was just, the whole game was at the free throw. The whole entire game. I don't know about you, but did you feel the same way, Chris?
Yeah, it's hard to watch a game where they just call way too many fouls. I'm not a fan of watching people shoot free throws. I'm just not. I was a Stockton Kings season ticket holder, and what I wish the NBA would do, especially early in quarters, is do exactly what the G League did, which is if you shoot one free throw, it counts as 2 points. No matter what you do, you just shoot one early in quarters. It gives you the 2 points. And you move on. Free throws take up way too much time. It takes away from the flow of the game. Makes the game boring. And I just wish they would adopt that rule.
And especially if you're going to watch James Harden play, because he's going to get a lot of free throws. It just slowed the game down.
To a crawl.
It just added extra time that was unneeded because it just seems like they're calling ticky-tack fouls. And I didn't overall, I didn't care for the game last night.
And so that's our thoughts basically on those 2 games. We're going to go ahead and transition now and preview the 2 games coming up today in the NBA. Okay, now we're going to switch gears and go ahead and preview the Toronto Raptors Boston game. Takes place later today, 3:30. It's going to be game 4. Toronto's trails in the series 2-1. They're coming off a very emotional buzzer beater win. Phenomenal game we talked about last episode. Going into this game, I have no idea what's going to happen. Literally, it was like last series where when Luka hit the game winner. Next game, you didn't really know what to expect. I don't know what to expect going into game 4. I mean, yeah, Toronto has momentum, but the Celtics are a tough-minded team. And, they do have some injuries coming into this game. Jeff Green's out. Obviously, Gordon Hayward's still out. Poirier's out. So that might affect them a little bit. Junior, what's your thoughts on this game? Who do you got winning this game? What do you think's going to happen?
I'm going to say I'm picking Celtics tonight. I'm going Celtics because I believe a loss like that motivates a team. I don't think the Celtics are the type of team to just fold over, tuck their tail in between their legs, and just lose. I feel like they're going to come out with the, vengeance, because losing like that, with 0.5 of a second, Kings know about how it is losing with 0.5 of a second. I mean, it hurts.
Yeah, it's a devastating loss, and it's either going to do one of two things. You're going to come out with a vengeance and try to right that wrong and get back in the win column and take control of this series, or, you could spiral down. Let's see how Toronto comes out. If they jump on them early, they could blow them out. It'll be interesting to see what happens. My prediction, I think I'll go with the Celtics too, just because I think they will bounce back. But we're going to go ahead and move on to the nightcap. It's going to be Denver taking on the LA Clippers in game 1. Obviously, Denver didn't come out. They had that emotional 7-game series. They were just exhausted. They were never really close. I feel like it's definitely a must game if Denver wants any chance in the series whatsoever. They cannot go down 2-0 to the Clippers, or else you could just go down to your local 99-cent store, buy a broom, and start sweeping up. It'll be a sweep. You cannot go down 2-0 to a Kawhi Leonard-led team. What do you think about it, Junior?
Oh, I honestly, I am going down to a 99-cent store and getting the broom, because I think they're going to sweep them. I don't see. It was a real hard-fought series, the last series. I think they're out of gas, the Nuggets, and I definitely believe there's going to be a sweep. And I'm predicting it. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Yeah, and before yesterday's practice, Montrezl Harrell, shout out to him. He got the 6th Man of the Year award. It was well-deserved. He's one of the toughest players in the NBA, especially defensively. He's a tough, hard-nosed player. Really like watching him play. So congratulations to him on that.
Yeah, Kings always had a tough time playing against Montrezl Harrell, man. It was always a struggle.
Yeah.
We always said when he came in the game, uh-oh.
Yeah,
That was
because
his nickname.
he's just a great defensive player, hard-nosed. I like that type of player. And if the Kings had a player like that, then, they would be a lot better off, And
But we don't.
But with that being said, not really a whole lot I wanted to talk about with this series, because I just think right now Denver doesn't have a chance in it. So we're going to go ahead and move on, talk a little Major League Baseball right now. Oakland A's and Giants, talk about their last 2 games. Last night, you can't really talk about much with the A's. They were shut out 7-0 by San Diego. Just a horrible performance. Bats didn't show up. They were coming off a 3 or 4 day layoff over the COVID, and I just think their heads weren't in that game. Didn't play well, and unfortunately they lost. But they're still ahead in the division, but they got to bounce back. They can't go on any losing streak because Houston's right there behind them. Let's go ahead and transition to the Giants. The Giants, they played Arizona. I'm a little mad about this game because Arizona came in 1-9 in their last 10, losing 5 in a row, and the Giants go ahead and lose to them 6-5. What's your thoughts on that?
I'm very pissed off with that game because, these are games the Giants are supposed to win if they want to make playoffs. It's inexcusable for losing these games. You've been hitting the ball great. You guys need to find a way to pull these games out and not lose to teams like the Diamondbacks. You've got to win these games. If you're serious about making the playoffs and proving this whole league wrong, you've got to do what you got to do to win. You've got to close out games.
Yeah, you have to beat the teams that you're supposed to beat. Arizona is a team right now that you are supposed to beat. And the thing about it is, you're going to have to face your old teammate, Madison Bumgarner, who's probably going to be motivated to play well against you guys. So that might not turn out in your favor. So I thought you needed to come out, win game one, set the tone for the series, keep their morale down with them losing, keep them on the losing end, and possibly sweep this team. Now, you got to come back and win the next two, just to win the series. You put pressure on yourself, and the way the Giants are pitching right now, it's a disgrace. Their ERA is just way up there, and then no lead they have in the game is safe. Their bullpen sucks. Their starting pitching is not very good outside of Johnny Cueto. I'm going to go ahead and transition to the NFL. Yesterday, Deshaun Watson signed a new contract, becoming the second highest paid quarterback in the league. I'm happy for him overall. But the one thing I want to talk about is Texans moving forward. They need to make better decisions around Deshaun Watson if this team wants to win. In the offseason, you make a horrible decision of getting rid of DeAndre Hopkins, and you trade him for David Johnson, who in 2 years has 1,200 yards, and he's a running back. And DeAndre Hopkins in the last 2 years has over 2,200 yards as a wide receiver. I mean, David Johnson, when he first came in the NFL with the Cardinals, he was a beast. But now, he hasn't done nothing. I mean, this is a horrible, horrible trade. Bill O'Brien is a disgrace. The guy's a fucking absolute moron. He cannot make your football decisions moving forward. If you don't build around Deshaun Watson, this team will only go... I mean, he can't carry the whole entire team. You're putting all your eggs in the Will Fuller basket at wide receiver. This guy gets hurt tying his fucking shoes in the morning. How are you building your team around that when you could have built your team around Deshaun Watson and DeAndre Hopkins? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I would have traded at least Hopkins for a first-round pick because then you could build through the draft and get a better receiver. I mean, why are you going to trade DeAndre Hopkins? He's the best receiver in football. It's inexcusable to trade him.
I mean, it's just... It dumbfounded me when they made that move.
That's like the Niners trading George Kittle. I mean,
it was just a dumb move. And yeah, I'm happy for Deshaun Watson. I mean, it is smart locking him up. But going forward, you got to make a lot better decisions around and build around this guy, especially on offense. He doesn't have a whole lot of weapons, and you have to have weapons in this league. Who's he going to throw to himself? I mean, the guy's fast, but he's not going to throw to himself. I mean, come on. Bill O'Brien, smarten up, make better decisions, or else they need to fire his ass and find somebody who can make better decisions. With that, I'm going to transition a little bit. Today's going to be the roster cut downs for the NFL. All teams got to be cut down to 53-man by this afternoon. We'll have more on that in the next podcast. We'll talk about the Raiders and Niners cuts, and we'll look at their roster and who they kept, what their depth charts look like going into the season. We'll preview their seasons on the next podcast. With that, we're going to go ahead and transition. Last thing we want to talk about, Friday night SmackDown last night. Junior, what do you want to talk about with SmackDown?
well, obviously the headline is, Roman Reigns. He's a Paul Heyman guy now, which honestly I'm really happy with that because I think it does a lot better for Roman Reigns because he, honestly, his whole career wasn't really good on the mic, and now it's better because Paul Heyman will cut his promos for him, and all he's got to do is just stand there with that look in his eyes, and act like a badass, and that's what I like about it. What about you, Chris?
Yeah, I think I like the heel Roman Reigns better, and I'll tell you why. Because the fans, from the start, they just never were with Roman Reigns. And what disgusted me about it, I was always a Roman Reigns fan, whether he was a heel, face, whatever. In the Shield, I was a big fan of his. He got booed mercilessly, and that's why they had to switch up plans, and he wound up losing, his championship opportunity because of you stupid fans. This guy puts on great match after great match, and the only time you started to get on his side is after it was found out he had leukemia. To me, that's a hypocrite move and a disgrace move. You booed him all along. And it wasn't until, he's got leukemia, you want to cheer this guy? No, that's bullshit. I cheered the guy all along, and you stupid other internet fans that bagged on him all along and didn't want to be in his corner until he had leukemia, I'd rather see him as a heel. And I hope he cuts promos on it because that was a disgrace, and he's going to be better as a heel. He's the top overall wrestler in the company, basically. And I think moving forward, he'll be the best heel in their company.
Yeah, definitely. And another thing we want to talk about, WWE releases AOP from the roster. What's your take on that? They're gone for a while. We talked about it in one of our podcasts where they've all but went missing, and I guess this is the reason why. So what's your thoughts on that?
Well, what I would do if I was AEW, they have a pay-per-view today. I would bring them in right today, attack somebody. They are a dominant force in tag team wrestling, and they could really mix in with the Young Bucks and the teams over in AEW. To me, it's the WWE's loss. They should have found a way to keep these guys and have them feud in the tag team division because they're one of the top tag teams out there. They're dominant. We're not talking about the Ascension here, a garbage-ass team who nobody wants, who's a wannabe Legion of Doom. No, this is the AOP. They're dominant. And the WWE is stupid for just letting them go outright.
Yeah, and then another thing that we got to mention in the SmackDown yesterday, well, there's two more things we got to mention, but another thing is tag team match between Shayna Baszler and Bayley and Sasha Banks. They lost, and Bayley turned on Sasha Banks. That was pretty much predictable. I knew that was going to happen some way along the line, either whether it was Sasha going to be turning on him or vice versa. What's your thoughts on that, Chris?
Well, honestly, moving forward, I really would look forward to a Bayley, Sasha Banks, big feud. I think, Bayley's turned a corner for me. She's a great heel. She needed to stay a heel, and this will solidify her as one of the top heels. And Sasha Banks, I'm sick and tired of what WWE does with her. She could win the title on a Sunday and lose it on a Monday. It's disgraceful. She needs a good long run as a singles women's wrestler. She's great. She's great on the mic. She's popular. She deserves to be a champion for a while, not just a week or two. She could carry the company, and this feud could carry the company. They're two, very good wrestlers. They're going to put on fantastic matches, and I can't wait to see them head up, and see what the storyline has together. But with that being said, we want to go ahead and end our podcast right now. Thank you for listening. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button.
Make sure you comment.
Yeah, comment. We're open to any suggestions, feedback. And we'll go ahead and see you on the next episode 5 where we'll be talking a lot more NFL football, previewing Niners, Raiders, going over their schedules, and also their 53-man rosters. But thanks again, and we'll see you next time.